So let's continue our time linker lesson now. Let's begin with as soon as. Do you remember our previous lesson there? When do we use as soon as? We use as soon as this time linker to describe like the activity, one activity or one event happen immediately after another. So for example, like activity 2 after activity 1. So let's take a look at this example here. David saw a snake is an activity 1 and it's an activity 1. And he ran into the house is activity 2. So which activity happened first? Activity 1 happened first, right? And then he he saw a snake. He went after he done this action of seeing a snake, then he just like ran into the house immediately, right? He ran into the house immediately. But you can just say David saw a snake, he ran into the house immediately like that. But you can also use as soon as to describe the immediate actions, like something happened immediately after another. So David saw a snake. So when you have to use as soon as, it is better to begin with activity 2, like David run into the house. Activity 2 begin first. As soon as he saw a snake. So activity 2. So remember that when you use as soon as, you describe the activity 2 first, then you use as soon as, then you describe activity 1. Okay, so this is how you use as soon as. Next, let's take a look at while. There are two situations, like I mentioned in the previous video, that we have two situations when we use while. The first situation is activity 1 happening and when the activity 2 happen. It's like the action happened while the other action is still happening, like it's haven't done. For example, let's take a look at this example first. Okay, Ivy was studying in her bedroom. We arrived at her house at 9. So which action happened first? There's no such thing like which happened first in the time linker while. This is not how it works. So when you want to describe something is still happening when something else is like it happened like that, when you want to mention that, you use why. For example, you can link these two sentences using why like this. Ivy was studying in her bedroom while we arrived at her house at 9. Okay, when this activity happened, when we arrived, she was still studying. Maybe she was like studying. She was like she started studying at 8, and she was still studying at 8:30, and even at 9 she was still studying. She haven't done her action of studying. So that when we arrive, she still studies. So activity 1 still happening when activity 2 happened. Okay, so you can use while. And another situation is activity 1 and activity 2 are like happen at the same time, and then they are still progressing, like they're still happening. For example, let's make a different sentence here. Ivy was studying in her bedroom, or you can say we are oh no, past tense. You can also use present tense, of course, but in my example, I will just use past tense. We were cooking in the kitchen. Okay, so you can say Ivy was studying in her bedroom while we were cooking in the kitchen. So that the activity of cooking and studying, the activity 1 and the activity 2 are in progress. They're still happening. So you use while. Okay, so now let's